Do you believe that everything you see with your own eyes is real? Is there a possibility that this world is virtual? And the weather, natural disasters, and other phenomena in the sky are all controlled by a higher civilization. I am going to die. On this particular morning, Bai Yu, as usual, handed me a cup of soy milk and some steamed buns. As I was sipping my soy milk, he suddenly said something out of the blue. I am going to die. You're just joking with me again, aren't you? I felt a certain degree of shock. Bai Yu is my boyfriend. He is a genius with an exceptionally high IQ. By the age of 3, he had mastered 4 languages, and at 6, he was exceptionally admitted to a university, becoming the youngest undergraduate student. By the time he was 10 years old, he had already completed his doctoral degree, skipping several levels. Everyone believed he was young and talented, destined to become a leading figure in the scientific research community. However, in the year he turned 12, he suddenly resigned from all positions, discarded all honors, and retreated into solitude, embracing a monastic life. The explanation he left for the numerous media outlets was, "We are merely fish in a tank. No matter how fast we swim, we can never escape the confines of the tank." Everyone consistently believed that Bai Yu, this genius, had gone mad. He was like a spring, stretched to its absolute limit, only to lose all its elasticity. Bai Yu and I were originally meant to be people from 2 different worlds. This year, after graduating from high school, I went to a temple to pray for admission into a good university. It was there that I encountered Bai Yu, seated cross-legged on a meditation cushion. He was strikingly handsome, with fair skin, and even in simple attire, he still captivated attention. The moment I first saw him, the 4 characters for déjà vu suddenly came to mind. Ever since I was very young, I had repeatedly dreamt of the same scene. It was within a temple, where a man whose face I couldn't discern was meditating with his eyes closed. Therefore, I couldn't help but utter that very cliched line to Bai Yu. "Do you know, I feel as though I've seen you somewhere before." Bai Yu smiled. His dark, profound eyes gazed steadily at me. "I knew, which is why I have been waiting for you here." At that time, I was unaware that he was the preeminent genius who had dominated the scene a decade earlier. Although it was my first meeting with Bai Yu, it felt as though we had been friends for a long time. Yet, within a mere few months, he confessed his feelings to me. He said, "I like you. I am not someone who gives affection lightly. I am confessing to you simply because I do not have much time left." I did not grasp the meaning of his words, yet I found myself captivated by his appearance and his usual gentlemanly demeanor. Therefore, I accepted his proposal. After we became a couple, there was no superficial romance between us. Bai Yu was a person who rarely showed emotion and led a remarkably monotonous life. Aside from the time he spent with me, he would merely sit idly in his room, reading from a book. I asked him, "What purpose does reading such trivialities serve? It cannot sustain us." Most of the time, Bai Yu would simply smile, never engaging in arguments with me. However, a few days prior, he had asked me, "Have you ever considered why people live?" I paused, then instinctively replied, "Living is about enjoying life and experiencing new things." He shook his head. "Human existence, in truth, is a matter of compulsion. Humans are compelled to be born, compelled to die, then born again after death, and die again after rebirth. This is a repeating cycle, a form of suffering that can never truly end." Not comprehending the meaning of his words, I attempted to explain it to him through a scientific lens. There is no cycle. When a person dies, their body turns to dust. As for the existence of newborns, it is merely the result of the union of sperm and egg. Bai Yu gently sighed, stroking my head. He asked, "Have you ever kept fish?" Confused, I replied, "My father did." Suppose a fish has never left its tank, nor seen any other species of fish. Would it not then believe that its world contained only its own kind? I attempted to imagine myself in the role of the fish, and after a long pause, I nodded. The fish might indeed believe that it is the only species in the world. Similarly, Bai Yu stated, word for word, humans have never encountered other intelligent species. This could only indicate that humanity, much like the fish, is merely confined to Earth, cultivated by a more advanced civilization. His words gradually made me realize the chilling implications. Indeed, in our human eyes, Earth is vast, yet compared to the universe, it is merely the size of a speck of dust. This suggests that there could very likely be alien species far more powerful than humans, using Earth as a vessel to farm us. But we are even more tragic than fish. After fish die in their tanks, they simply cease to exist. Bai Yu then softly said, "Under the manipulation of a higher civilization, after we humans die, our memories will be erased, and we will live again in this world as newborns, continually experiencing a series of suffering, such as warmth and cold, hunger and destitution, and worldly ridicule. Reborn after death, dying again after rebirth, perpetually cycling through the agony of death." I felt an inexplicable sense of oppression, and my whole body was uneasy. Coincidentally, my advisor sent me a message, asking me to register the personal information of the class members. I unconsciously clicked on my advisor's WeChat profile to take a look. Displayed there was a picture of her sitting in a new red BMW. Her caption read, "Thank you, my dear husband, for my little car, so happy." Shortly after, I suddenly couldn't see this WeChat moment anymore. "She blocked you," Bai Yu said, glancing casually. Higher species allow us to develop on Earth, not significantly interfering with human civilization, yet we humans trap ourselves, considering expensive material possessions, respectable professions, and beautiful appearances as standards for upward mobility. But I was unconvinced. He was simply too alarmist. My advisor's WeChat moment pulled me back from the thought of humans being farmed on Earth. My dream was modest, simply to find a good job after graduation and buy a large house. I blurted out, "Alas, the Earth is so vast, yet it cannot give me a home for free." Bai Yu earnestly told me, "Among the multitude of fish, if a higher civilization takes notice of you, they will grant you some unexpected gifts. These might include winning a large lottery, receiving compensation for property demolition, suddenly encountering opportunities, or a sudden surge in wealth. To them, these are merely trivial amusements. It's akin to when you were a child, bored and idly giving an ant a biscuit out of goodwill." I quickly clasped my hands together, pleading, "I earnestly implore the higher civilization to grant me a 130 million lottery win." Driven by a strange impulse, I excitedly bought a lottery ticket. The next day, I won. It was 130 million. After deducting taxes and donations, I ultimately received 8 million. I joyfully informed Bai Yu of the news. I had truly won the lottery. Yet Bai Yu's face was ashen. He locked himself in his room, neither eating nor drinking. In the dead of night, I heard his voice, a mixture of despair, excitement, and hopelessness. He said, "Those who can escape will surely escape." He found it was Siddhartha Gautama. Across the entire Earth, only this one fish escaped the fishbowl, avoiding the cycle. I knocked on his door, hoping he would come out to eat something. But Bai Yu was lost in his own world, completely disregarding my words. Early the next morning, his room door was ajar. I pushed the door open, only to find the room empty. I hastily began searching for him. "Bai Yu, where are you? Don't scare me," I called out. "I went to buy you breakfast," he explained. The living room door opened, and Bai Yu stood in the entryway, changing his shoes. He looked no different than usual, handsome in appearance, with tender eyes. "Zai, eat quickly," he urged. I took the soy milk from his hand and took a sip. "You didn't leave the house all day yesterday, and then you were gone early this morning. You scared me to death." Bai Yu simply hummed softly, his eyes filled with tenderness as he looked at me. His demeanor made me feel somewhat uneasy. I asked him, "Have you eaten? What were you muttering about last night?" Bai Yu did not respond to my questions. He gently stroked my hair and said with profound calm, "Higher civilized species have noticed me. I am going to die." My face filled with shock. I stammered, Are you joking with me, right?" "Perhaps," Bai Yu replied, turning towards the balcony. "Bai Yu, don't do this, I'm scared," I pleaded. Panicked, I dropped the soy milk and desperately embraced him. "Don't jump from the building." "I will not jump. I will not let you needlessly endure humanity's scorn and suspicion." Bai Yu gently drew the curtains facing the balcony. "Zai, you must remember, though I am gone, I will always be with you." The sunlight no longer streamed in. The pink Phalaenopsis orchid on the flower stand slowly bloomed a little more. I breathed a sigh of relief. Phalaenopsis orchids are most sensitive to sunlight. It turned out he was taking care of this potted plant. "Please don't scare me anymore, okay?" I hugged Bai Yu tightly. "Never mention the word death again." Before I could finish, my body stiffened. Bai Yu was dead. His body was rigid, and faint lividity spots subtly appeared on his long, slender fingers. Suddenly, a chilling cold enveloped me. His condition clearly indicated he had been dead for some time. Someone who had been dead for a long time had just spoken to me 30 seconds ago, handed me soy milk, and even closed the curtains. I could not believe my own eyes. Trembling, I reached out to feel beneath Bai Yu's nose. You're just joking with me, right? It must be so." Bai Yu was so clever. He must know how to make his skin rigid and feign a state of death. However, I waited for a long time, but Bai Yu did not awaken. Instead, I watched helplessly as the lividity on his body gradually spread like vines, climbing onto his face. Completely overwhelmed, I broke down, sobbing uncontrollably as I called the police. 10 minutes later, the police arrived. Because there were surveillance cameras in the house, the police did not harbor significant suspicion or investigate me extensively. Bai Yu's body was slowly placed into a body bag, the black zipper sealing away his appearance. My Bai Yu had, from that moment, left me forever. Later, I called Bai Yu's parents to inform them. Their tone was sorrowful yet remarkably calm. "We knew a long time ago. The day he went to the temple, he told us he wouldn't live past 30. Days later, the news of Bai Yu's death swept across the media, overwhelming all channels. It is with profound sorrow that we announce the sudden death of Bai Yu, a top genius with an IQ comparable to Einstein's at 8:10 a.m. on July 18, 2023. Below the news article was a series of biographical details about Bai Yu. Bai Yu mastered 4 languages by the age of 3, graduated with a doctorate at 10, became a monk at 12, and passed away at 22. The accompanying image for the news was a black and white photograph of Bai Yu at 10 years old, wearing a doctoral gown and holding his diploma. In the photo, he appeared very youthful, yet his features were handsome, and there was not a trace of a smile in his eyes. Only then did I realize how exceptionally talented my boyfriend was. Unbeknownst to me, tears began to fall from my eyes, dropping one by one onto the phone screen, directly onto Bai Yu's eyes. Suddenly, his eyes moved. His originally ice-cold, black and white eyes suddenly filled with profundity and tenderness. "You, is that you?" I stared intently at the phone screen, my voice hoarse as I questioned him. Yet, in that very instant, his gaze reverted to the lifeless, rigid stare of the photograph. I collapsed despairingly onto the sofa, like a fish out of water, my lips slightly parted, constantly staring at the phone screen with a desperate longing for rain. But the miracle did not happen again. After a long time, I began to feel thirsty. Extremely thirsty. It was a thirst that clawed at my heart and lungs. I stood up, rushed to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, and quickly drank it. As soon as I finished drinking, the dryness and thirst swept over me once more. I felt as if my entire body was on fire, and only the dousing with water could quell the thirst and heat. I filled the bathtub with water, then picked up the bottle from the water dispenser and poured its contents directly into my mouth. Nearly 2 liters of water did not enter my stomach. I quickly stepped onto the weighing scale. The number on the scale was almost identical to my usual empty stomach weight. This contradicted the knowledge I had acquired. Doesn't everything in the world adhere to the law of conservation of energy? Why had I consumed 2 kilograms of water, yet my body weight showed no change? My questions were silenced by the overwhelming dryness and burning sensation throughout my body. I ran into the bathroom and plunged headfirst into the bathtub. In an instant, the water in the tub began to boil and evaporate, as if a piece of steel heated to 1000 degrees Celsius had been dropped into it. I felt an extreme dread, wanting to stand up, but my body was incredibly heavy, as if filled with lead. I became completely submerged in the bathtub. Through a layer of clear, sparkling water, the white object before my eyes subtly began to change. The water started to transform, first into a light blue, then a deep blue. It felt as if I was no longer immersed in a bathtub, but truly present within the ocean itself. With the swaying of the water, I could even glimpse a few strands of sunlight. Was I experiencing a hallucination? In a panic, I raised my head, breaking the surface of the water. At that moment, the familiar ceiling was gone, replaced by a dazzling azure sky and an endless, abyssal ocean. I vigorously pinched my arm, yet felt a sharp, stinging pain. The intense pain unmistakably informed me that this was neither a hallucination nor a dream. But how had I, in an instant, been transported from my home to the vast ocean? Suddenly, I recalled something Bai Yu had once told me. He had said, "If a higher civilization among all the fish happens to notice you, they might bestow upon you some unexpected gifts. To them, these are merely idle pastimes. Much like when you were a child, bored, you might kindly offer a cookie to an ant." Previously, I had always found Bai Yu a bit eccentric, but the current events made me fully believe his words. Only a higher civilization, one beyond human comprehension, could instantly cast an ant, like me, into the sea. Whoosh, a colossal wave before me, like a massive transparent canvas, swelled and crashed furiously towards me. I was knocked down by the surf, submerged into the dark ocean depths. Darkness and the already scarce oxygen in my lungs steadily diminished my life force. Holding my breath, I frantically swam upwards. It was then that I witnessed an utterly terrifying sight. Floating directly above me was an enormous human face. It was an immensely vast face, stretching perhaps 40 or 50 stories long, obscuring everything my sight could perceive. Had I not been so close as to discern faint, fine hairs shimmering on its thin surface with the water's undulations, I would surely have mistaken it for nothing more than an immeasurably huge, soft canvas. The presence of this face filled me with intense discomfort. My heart pounded wildly, yet I could only strive to calm my breathing, attempting to pass through the face's eye socket and surface. Rows of delicate eyelashes hung down, obstructing the face's eyelids. As I neared the eyelashes, An intensely putrid and bloody stench assailed me. I bit down hard on my lip, feeling as though my chest would burst from holding my breath for so long. Finally, I parted those eyelashes. Just as I believed I was about to emerge and breathe the air, I witnessed an even more horrifying scene. Beyond the skin was not the sea, but a colossal human figure. The skin of the human's head had been peeled back, revealing long, soaked, bloodshot eyeballs and an expansive torso stretching as far as the eye could see. I was too insignificant, like an ant standing by the giant's foot, forever unable to glimpse its full form. However, this giant floating in the sea was clearly male, judging by its proportions. His hair was short, drifting with the current like seaweed. The prolonged breath, holding, caused my heart to uncontrollably issue a death warning. I swam frantically upwards, but my vision began to blur. Before me, the azure blue of the seawater was replaced by an expanse of blood-filled water. Subconsciously, I opened my mouth and gasped for air, attempting to get oxygen. Yet what entered before oxygen was blood-filled water. This water rushed into my mouth, vying for entry. I exhaled a few bubbles, and my body began to sink downwards, gradually descending into the skin beneath me. Just as I thought I was about to die, a colossal hand floating ahead slowly stirred, reaching out precisely for me. His fingers were truly enormous. I was lifted merely by the fingernail of his index finger. With one hand, he sent me out of the water, casting me high above the sea surface. In the air, I gulped down breaths greedily. Simultaneously, I saw a pale corpse floating upon the boundless sea. This corpse was immense, truly immense, lying prone. His occiput floated slightly above the sea surface, and his thick hair appeared like a small island overgrown with dark trees. At the edge of this hair island, a gleaming emblem caught my eye. It was a necklace with the letters BW on it. In that moment, my mind felt as though it had exploded. BW represented the English combination of Bai Yu's initials and the last letter of my name. Could this enormous, pale body, swollen by the seawater beneath me, be Bai Yu? The blood throughout my body began to congeal. My throat felt as if gripped by invisible hands, unable to move even slightly. The next instant, the prone corpse slowly turned over, lying on its back, gazing skyward. His face lacked skin, making his entire visage appear bloody, raw flesh and bone, exceptionally gruesome and terrifying. Seconds later, I fell from the high altitude into his eyeball. His soft eyeballs, like marshmallows, tightly enveloped me, making it impossible to breathe. I struggled with all my might, yet no matter what, I could not escape from his eye sockets. "Help!" I lost my mind and screamed wildly, but the darkness still consumed me. Wake up, young lady. I fear she cannot be saved. She drowned so young." I felt someone pressing on my chest, and even someone attempting to open my mouth to administer artificial respiration. Was I being saved? Slowly, I opened my eyes and found myself surrounded by a large crowd of people. Among those gathered around me was a dark, scrawny old man. Seeing me awaken, he visibly let out a great sigh of relief. "Young lady, you are finally awake." A kind old woman also told me, "Young lady, it was not easy for this elder to save you. You had drifted out to the middle of the sea, yet he swam relentlessly to rescue you from the clutches of King of Hell. He is truly your life-saver." I collapsed onto the ground, looking weakly at the old man beside me. Vaguely, the old man's past and present lives began to flash through my mind like a fleeting panorama. In his past life, at the age of 10, he was tragically run over and killed in a car accident on the road. In this life, the old man was reborn into an ordinary family. He loved water, enjoyed swimming, and had saved many lives. However, his fate was not particularly fortunate. In the future, I saw that he would soon be involved in another car accident, his legs crushed. Although the old man would be bedridden, he would also acquire a substantial sum of money as a result of his injuries. He had no children of his own. His nephews and nieces vied to care for him. Yet, after his money was completely swindled away, he would meet his end, starving to death in his bed. I shivered. The old woman beside me gently patted my shoulder. Oh, why isn't this young lady speaking? Could her mind have been damaged by the drowning? I looked up at the old woman again. Similarly, her past and present lives also began to surface in my mind. In her past life, she endured great hardship, raising 6 children by herself. Her children were filial towards her. After they started their own families, they invited her to live with them in their respective homes in her old age. However, she did not get along with her daughter-in-law, who, in a fit of rage, poured rat poison into her food. In his current life, he has only one daughter and has since retired, now enjoying travels to various scenic spots. However, this elderly woman's fate did not seem particularly kind. Her ultimate destiny was a diagnosis of advanced stomach cancer. I was completely stunned. Can I truly see others' past and present lives, or is this merely an illusion? So, sir. Clutching my chest, I struggled to ask him. Just as Bai Yu once told me, people live out of necessity, born out of necessity, and die out of necessity. Young lady, can you tell fortunes? The elderly woman, energized as soon as she heard me speak, eagerly pressed me with questions. So tell me, how many children do I have? My face had already begun to turn pale. You have only one daughter who is currently attending university, correct? Good heavens, a girl so young actually knows how to tell fortunes. The elderly woman quickly grasped my hand, asking excitedly, "Then, young lady, can you tell me if my daughter will get into graduate school? How will her marriage be in the future? Will her life be comfortable?" I shook my head. I don't know. I haven't seen your daughter, so I'm unaware of her situation. Then I'll video call my daughter now, so you can see her. As she spoke, the siren of an ambulance could already be heard. The paramedics, carrying a stretcher, walked towards me. Sir, when you have free time these days, please don't wander on the road. You must be careful of vehicles. I couldn't help but say this to the elderly man who had saved my life. He likely took me for a fortune teller with some ability, immediately nodding vigorously. All right, I absolutely won't go near the road recently. However, after he finished speaking, when I looked at him, I saw another tragic scene unfold in his future. He saved another person while swimming at the beach, but this time he never emerged from the sea again. By this time, the nurses had already lifted me onto the stretcher. I hastily shouted to him once more, "And absolutely do not go swimming in the sea." The old man responded, "Okay, I understand." He and I were drifting apart, yet I still saw that in the near future he would die, perishing in a gas leak accident. In that instant, I finally understood that no matter what I did or said, he was destined to die. This was an unchangeable fate. "Young lady, what about me?" The old woman eagerly rushed towards me, asking earnestly, "What should my daughter and I be cautious of?" I shook my head, not uttering another word. Lying in the ambulance, I kept my eyes tightly shut, as images of Bai Yu's colossal body in the seawater, and the death scenes of everyone's past and present lives that I could foresee, continuously flashed through my mind. I did not know how, all of a sudden, my world had undergone such a profound transformation. I used to be just one of many ordinary university students. I longed for scholarships and yearned not to fail any courses. Yet now I was suddenly able to see clearly into the entire lives of others. Why did I possess such an ability? Perhaps a higher civilization had noticed me. and beings from this advanced civilization had bestowed upon me some special skills. It was as if humans, having taken a liking to an ant, continuously provided it with food. An ant would be immensely happy to receive food. But I was not an ant, I was human. Humans stood at the apex of carnivores not merely due to objective factors, but because they possessed freedom and thought. The endowments from the higher race only reinforced my understanding that I was being nurtured and confined. Ultimately, I too would experience the agony of a repetitive cycle of death. Thanks to timely rescue, I was not in any serious condition. Before the hospital room, I stood like a fool, staring blankly at the mirror in the bathroom. I attempted to see my own future through my reflection in the mirror. However, all I saw before me was a blank emptiness. That evening, my roommate Lai Yun called me. "Jai Wai, I'm getting married on National Day. Hurry and be my bridesmaid." I was stunned. "You don't even have a boyfriend, so how are you getting married?" Lai Yun was even more astonished. "Are you joking with me? You were the one who set my boyfriend and me up. Don't you remember?" I was dumbfounded. Subconsciously, I glanced at my phone's time and discovered it had inexplicably advanced to September 28, 2027. I felt as if struck by lightning. My time was advanced, something only beings of a higher civilization could achieve. I frantically rushed to the window's edge, gazing up at the pitch black night sky above and the bright moon suspended within it. Was the moon before me truly Earth's moon, or, much like in the Truman Show, was it merely a glowing ceiling bulb installed by beings of a higher civilization for humanity? Soon, October 1st arrived. At the engagement hotel, Lai Yun placed a lottery ticket in an exquisite box, presenting it as a party favor. I casually opened it, and the next day, I discovered I had won the lottery again, 130 million. A chill ran through my entire body. I was truly, genuinely noticed by beings of a higher civilization. Why would such beings pay attention to me? Why did they bestow wealth upon me, transport me across time, and even grant me the ability to foresee people's past, present, and future? I did not understand the reason. I locked myself in Bai Yu's room, and like Bai Yu once did, I immersed myself in studying the books within, forsaking food and drink. Most of his books were Sanskrit Buddhist scriptures. Being a person without Buddhist enlightenment, I could not comprehend them at all. Much later, when my stomach was so famished it felt on the verge of collapse, I suddenly realized that, unknowingly, my entire body was drenched, as if I had been pulled from a water tank. My phone suddenly rang. It was the police, calling me to collect Bai Yu's autopsy report. I froze. 4 years had passed. Why were the police only now asking me to pick up the autopsy report? Instinctively, I looked at my phone again, which showed the time had returned to the 3rd day after Bai Yu's death. This time, I was not overly surprised. I understood that since beings of a higher civilization could, with an unseen hand, advance me into the future, they could naturally also pull me back to the present. I went to the police station. Through the door, I overheard the medical examiner's puzzled discussion. The deceased, Bai Yu, died under very peculiar circumstances. There were no wounds on the surface of the body, yet his heart mysteriously had countless perforations. However, I had checked, and there were no needle marks in his throat or digestive tract. The medical examiner let out a heavy sigh. More colloquially, it was as if sharp needles suddenly grew within his heart, piercing it, and then vanished into thin air after his death. I knocked on the room door. The police handed me the autopsy report. The cause of death stated on it was sudden death. After collecting the autopsy report, I went to school and entered the dormitory. My roommate, Lai Yun, was on her bed, excitedly chatting with our other roommates. "Do you know, I saw a boy at the library. He was so handsome, I really like him. The other two roommates replied, if you like him, go after him. Lai Yun's resolve instantly wavered. He's so handsome, many people must be pursuing him. He surely wouldn't be interested in me. If I were to pursue him, I'd only embarrass myself. That's not right, I told Lai Yun. The person you like is my high school classmate. Do you know, you will marry him after you graduate from university. Lai Yun ignored my words completely. I furrowed my brow, raising my voice slightly. Is it because I haven't been resting in the dormitory recently? Are you angry? The three roommates present still did not respond to me. I rushed forward and waved my hand in front of Lai Yun's face. He showed no reaction. It was as if he couldn't see me. He wasn't pretending. His pupils remained motionless. A tingling sensation began on my scalp. The school's class bell rang. I rushed to the classroom, where the subject teacher began taking attendance. When he called my name, I stood up and responded extremely loudly. Yet a hint of displeasure appeared in the teacher's eyes. Where is Jai Wai? Why isn't she in class? I desperately shouted, I'm here. I'm right here. Why can't any of you see me? It was as if a transparent, soundproof, one-way mirror separated me from them. I could see them and I could hear them speak. But uniquely, they could neither see nor hear me. Growing anxious, I picked up a piece of chalk, intending to write on the blackboard. However, I could only approach the chalk infinitely closely, as if separated by a misty membrane, unable to make contact with it. From that moment, I became an invisible, transparent person existing in this space-time. I finally understood that the high-value lottery tickets, the ability to see people's past, present, and future, and time travel, all granted by the higher civilization beings, were not blessings, but rather malicious manipulation and punishment. It was as if humans offered an ant a biscuit, and just as the ant, overjoyed, was about to drag it into its nest, the humans would discard the biscuit and toss the ant tens of thousands of miles away from its home. My life began to be controlled by such beings. I didn't know what to do. I looked up towards the sky. The once clear sky slowly began to cloud over. The weather was about to change. This time, the downpour began even before the lightning appeared. Each drop of water that fell on me felt like a piece of ice, hitting me forcefully. I missed Bai Yu. Every time it rained heavily, she would hold a black umbrella and pick me up at the teaching building. Now it was my turn to take the initiative. I would go to pick up my Bai Yu. I ran desperately towards the sea. The downpour intensified, and the rain seemed to form a wall of water, obstructing me and making it impossible to move forward. Step by step, I walked towards the sea. Then I plunged into the sea without hesitation. The surging waves engulfed me, yet to my surprise, I felt no discomfort whatsoever in the water. Behold, a colossal human head materialized in the sky. Faintly, I heard someone shouting. Was this a mirage? My goodness, how terrifying! I thought the head they spoke of was Bai Yu, but when I surfaced to look, I discovered that the head in the sky was, in fact, my own. This head, with black hair obscuring my face and wildly disheveled, clinging to my neck and shoulders, created an exceptionally terrifying sight. Yet a subtle joy stirred within me. I cried out, "Can you see me?" The head in the sky also underwent a change, revealing a grotesque scene of me leaning in towards them, mouth agape. Ah, he's going to eat people. Everyone was terrified. Again, I tried to extend my hand, wishing to convey friendliness to them. But I discovered that only my arm appeared in the sky. My face was gone. Even though I wished to communicate and express myself to them, only fragments of my body could appear in the sky. I remained unable to communicate with them. I plunged back into the sea, in search of my Bai Yu. The sea, once a brilliant blue, had become a murky black. After swimming for a considerable duration, I once again beheld the giant Bai Yu. This time, perhaps due to my lack of discomfort in the seawater, I perceived it with much greater clarity. Bai Yu was not a singular, complete body. Rather, it was a colossal entity formed by countless grotesque faces densely interwoven together. It was as though a dense swarm had converged, collectively forming a single, distinct shape. Abruptly, Bai Yu's eye sockets burst open. The entities nestled within its eye sockets, with an unnatural, writhing movement, surged towards me. Their skin was deathly pale, their heads sharply pointed, and they possessed no feet, only 2 hands. An eye adorned each side of their faces, and they lacked noses. Mouthless, they resembled bizarre deep sea creatures. Yet I understood them to be a form of sentient being. I heard them communicating with me, uttering, "Explorer, welcome back." In that moment of communion, I finally comprehended that I, too, was one of their kind. We refer to ourselves as the Eternals. Our physiques are extraordinarily resilient. Even the searing temperatures of a sun cannot incinerate us. As we do not require air, we possess no noses. Lacking the need for water or sustenance, we possess no mouths. Our sole requirement is a small quantity of human blood. By dripping it into our eye sockets, we can sustain our eternal existence. It is akin to an automobile, which necessitates fuel to function. Therefore, we Eternals migrated, establishing our existence within Earth's abyssal depths. Prior to our arrival on Earth, we drifted aimlessly amongst unknown planets throughout the vast cosmos. Before we acquired human blood, we sustained ourselves by consuming the blood of our own species. With the passage of time, we inevitably realized that consuming the blood of our own kind offered only a temporary palliative, not a lasting cure. Consequently, our brethren dispatched Bai Yu and me as explorers to journey across the cosmos. Ultimately, we located Earth and ascertained that the blood of its inhabitants possessed the capacity to prolong our existence. While humans dominate Earth, they are, in the eyes of us Eternals, profoundly insignificant and frail. The various major catastrophes that led to humanity's disappearance from Earth were, in fact, our own creations. The subterranean tremors in certain regions, burying people who then vanished, were incidents where their blood was meticulously drained by us to host our human blood feasts. The victims of sudden, massive conflagrations in other locales were nothing more than our passing amusements. Before our arrival on Earth, humanity itself possessed immortality. Born between heaven and earth, integral to their essence, humans could naturally share in the eternal longevity of both. However, humanity was incapable of bearing offspring. To guarantee a perpetual supply of fresh blood from humanity, we, the immortals, endowed them with the faculty of reproduction. For after humans, from whom the immortals had drawn blood, met their demise, their souls would dissipate and drift through the cosmos. We immortals understood clearly that within the vast expanse of the universe, where we existed, other forms of higher civilization would naturally also thrive. Consequently, we dispersed a peculiar transparent ring within Earth's outer orbit. This ring served multiple purposes. It prevented human souls from scattering, rendered Earth imperceptible to other species, and allowed the souls of the departed to have their memories erased before returning to a new infant body. And this cyclical existence, the involuntary birth and inescapable death of humanity, was precisely what Bai Yu had once described to me. The transformation of Bai Yu and myself, from immortal beings to mere humans, was a consequence of my own act of compassion. Bai Yu and I served as explorers for the immortals, akin to human navigators like Columbus, who embarked on quests to discover new continents. Bai Yu and I were the pioneers who reached Earth, where we subsequently discovered the profound efficacy of human blood upon us immortals. Ultimately, Bai Yu transmitted a signal, beckoning the arrival of our fellow immortals. While the arrival of our kind would require a significant duration, our leader had already preemptively deployed the shielding rings across Earth, effectively concealing it from other higher species. During the interim, as we awaited the arrival of our brethren, I, moved by compassion, liberated the soul of the venerable Siddhartha Gautama. Bai Yu, my steadfast companion, offered no resistance to my actions. Consequently, both Bai Yu and I incurred the penalty of being transformed into humans. We were condemned to ceaselessly endure the torment of cyclical death, a trial that would persist until we achieved enlightenment, allowing us to reclaim our status as immortals. In this particular existence, Bai Yu exhibited extraordinary intellect. He deciphered the truth of humanity's confinement on Earth ahead of time, leading to the premature demise of his physical form and his ascension to a true immortal. Following the death of Bai Yu's physical body, all the astonishing events I subsequently encountered were, in fact, his meticulous orchestrations. His aim was to accelerate my enlightenment, enabling me to rejoin his ranks. The arduous ordeal of existing as a mere human has now concluded. Bai Yu, positioned beside me, extended his hand, and a subtle glint of amusement flickered within his vivid crimson eyes. From this moment forth, we shall remain united eternally, forever immortal. Yet, as I prepared to reach out to him, I was abruptly struck by a sensation of unfolding chaos across the world, and the tumultuous surge of the seas. The leader of the immortals was overcome with profound terror, exclaiming, "A higher civilization has arrived. They have shattered the very shielding rings we meticulously positioned around Earth." In the very next moment, the leader's finger pierced directly into my eye as he snarled, "You imbecile! It was your release of Siddhartha Gautama's soul that led to the advent of an even higher civilization upon Earth." His finger, like a honed blade, impaled my eye, plunging me into excruciating agony. My perception was once again consumed by impenetrable darkness. I then heard Bai Yu's heart-wrenching cry, "Do not slay him." Concurrently, I heard the immortal leader rally with a raised arm, commanding, "Depart Earth swiftly." A faint smile slowly appeared on my lips. Now, humanity should never have to experience the cycle of death again. However, that's not right either. According to the law of the jungle, only the weak are preyed upon by the strong. The more advanced civilization brought by Siddhartha Gautama might save humanity, or it might enslave humanity even more cruelly than we did.